Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sharise Hemby. I am a social worker, and my business partner Tess Kinney and I also have a private counseling practice called Hand in Hand Counseling Services. It's located in the East Liberty section of Pittsburgh, right on North Negley Avenue, and we've been around for close to a year now, and we specialize in family counseling, helping people with the transition in foster care and adoption. We do individual, couples, parent, adolescent, and we are accepting new referrals at this time, so we're really excited about that. And I also just recently wrote a book, and it's called Vitamin C, Healing for the Mind, Body, and Soul, and I'm super excited because it was just released today. So people are receiving their copies, and I cannot wait to hear the feedback that I get. But Vitamin C, Healing for the Mind, Body, and Soul is a book about mental health awareness and self-care, and how we each have our unique journeys, and how it makes life a little easier when we're able to embrace those journeys as opposed to fighting them and I guess kind of dwelling and ruminating on what someone else has, and how come you were selected to go on this journey. I talk a lot about relationships and family and a community, and basically what I want people to get out of Vitamin C is how are you going to be a better person? What are you going to contribute to this world at the end of the day? Vitamin C is metaphoric for the medicine, the vitamin C, how a lot of times when you're sick or you have a cold and your doctor says, make sure you get your vitamin C, drink plenty of orange juice. Well, I want people to get their vitamin C when they read this book. So that's how I came up with this title.
Oh, okay, nice. And it got released today.
Yes.
And you're in the planning stages of doing a book signing, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Dope. Look for that in October.
Yes, sometime in October, possibly the end of October.
And where can you purchase the book?
The book can be purchased online at ex3ent.com, or you can email me at vitaminchealing@gmail.com.
Great. So, Sharise, where are you from? Are you from Pittsburgh?
Yes, I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, been here my whole life. I was actually raised in the Homewood, East Liberty section of the city. I graduated from Westinghouse High School, so I'm a Westinghouse alumni. I went to IUP for undergraduate, and I went to Pitt for graduate school.
Oh, so just all around Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm a Pittsburgh native, so I'm excited about the book. I have to do something for my city, get Pittsburgh on a map. We've been getting a lot of negative publicity lately, so I'm hoping that this is an opening for us to start getting more positive publicity.
Now, currently, besides the office, Hand in Hand Consultant, and the writing of the book, you also are in social work, correct?
Yes, I am a social worker by trade. Social work is very vague. Social workers can do almost anything. A lot of times we can be in a hospital, we can be in a government, we can be in the schools, we can work for nonprofit organizations, and the realm I chose in social work was more along the mental health lines. So I have about 14 years of experience in the mental health profession, and that's why I decided to go in with my partner Tess Kinney and open up Hand in Hand Counseling Services.
Okay. So what made you get an interest into mental health?
That's a good question. Well, I actually talk about that in the book too. Initially, I was actually afraid of counseling, and I just commended people who were able to do it, to be able to sit in that seat and just listen to people at their most vulnerable states. They're opening their mind, their hearts, and their lives to you, and you're absorbing all of this energy, and it's like, what are you going to do with that now? But for for some reason, it felt like my calling. God kept calling me to it, and I got my first job as a therapist, and I was very nervous because I was so afraid of messing up a family, but then I came to understand that the most important thing about the mental health profession and being a therapist is just being present in that moment with people, just bearing witness to their experiences. People want someone who cares. Yes, they care about how much you know, but as the famous late great Maya Angelou said, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And it has become my passion, and it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like something that I love to do.
In the African American community, there's a stigma against, mental health and going to therapy per se. What would you say are some, not solutions, but maybe ideas to kind of conquer that or get over that? Because it's a real issue that we tend to not discuss.
Yes, and I actually talk about that in my book too. And I think it has a lot to do with the way a lot of us were raised. And even if you date back to the slavery days when we needed help, there was no therapist. We relied on each other. We sang hymns, and we relied on our faith in God. And the age-old saying, what goes on his house stays in his house, and don't air your dirty laundry. But what I say to people, it's about educating people about what actually goes on in therapy. I think people have this misconceived perception about what actually happens in therapy, that this therapist is there to judge them, and who's going to know that I'm there, and I might feel like less of a man or less of a woman because I've opened up my life to someone. But I think the more people understand what goes on in therapy, and that it's not a place for you to be judged, and that we are bound by confidentiality, that we cannot reveal anything that you tell us in that session unless you're threatening to hurt yourself or someone else, then I think when you begin to break down those barriers, people become a little bit more receptive to therapy.
Okay. In your experience, have you found it harder to bond with children or adults? Do you take different approaches?
That's a good question. Earlier in my experience, I found it harder to join with adults because I think I probably still look really young. I don't get asked that anymore. But earlier in my profession, they want to know, well, how old are you? Do you have kids? And what can you offer me? And underneath that question is, can you handle what I'm about to tell you? Can you help me? And when you're able to come across as competent and confident and caring, you can connect with anyone, because that's what they want to know at the end of the day. Is my approach a little bit different? Yes. With children and adolescents, I don't want to take the approach of being a lecturer and that teacher with the ruler stick, because they get enough from that, from their teachers and from their parents. So they need someone to kind of come down to their level a little bit and listen to what they have to say, because a lot of times they aren't heard and they need someone to speak their language. And with an adult, it's also more about listening to their story, hearing what they have to say, and letting them know that you are competent and that you are capable of handling what it is they have to tell you.
So, when you're not being a therapist or you're not being a social worker, what do you like to do?
Well, when I'm not doing that, I like to spend time with my fiance Bill, and we like to do a lot of fun things. We go on walks sometimes. We go to the movies. I am a big sports fan. I love the Steelers, and it's football season, so my weekends will be filled with that when I'm not working. And sometimes, if I get a few minutes, I just like to relax and just be.
Do you find with your profession that it's very important that you do find that me time?
Yes, that's very important, because each day I deal with a variety of individuals, and I'm absorbing a lot of energy. I hear some very painful stories, and it's important that I talk about self-care in my book too. It's important that I find different ways of practicing self-care, because I'm offering that advice to people, so I need to practice what I preach too.
What would you say would be a good process for an individual who is seeking help, or think they may need help, or they're just dealing with issues that, family and friends are just not the people to talk to?
Right. Well, we do offer free 15 to 20 minute consultations, so they can always call myself or Tess and get a free 15 to 20 minute phone consultation, or come in for a free 15 to 20 minute consultation, and during that time we'll ask them a few questions about what's going on, tell them a little bit about ourselves and the approaches we use and what we have to offer, just to see if it's a good fit, because we don't want someone to get into it and it not be a good fit, because the fit with the therapist is crucial to success in treatment. So the first part would be reaching out to us, and that's the hardest part. I've had people tell me that they've held onto my business card for months before even calling me.
Do you think it's important for newlyweds or people who are, about to be married, premarital therapy? Is that something, counseling, is that very important?
Yes, we have been getting a lot of couples lately, and a trend that we're seeing is people are in their second year of marriage and they never receive premarital counseling, and they don't have that foundation. They never built that foundation, so now they found themselves they're not on a solid foundation right now. It's kind of glassy.
I think there's something people think, oh, we don't need that. We've been together for X amount of years and we know each other, and they don't understand the complications of marriage.
Yes, and I think that's a really good comment, because we change. There are people who may have met in high school or college, and then they've been together or married for 20 years. You're not the same person or couple that you were when you met. You're evolving. You may be evolving individually, but are you evolving as a couple? And I think it's important to sometimes step back and examine that.
Thank you. Do you have any final points or things that you would definitely want to share?
Yes. I would just encourage anyone, sometimes counseling isn't, another stigma about counseling is you have to have this severe mental health disorder, that you have to be severely depressed or close to hospitalization. No, sometimes you just need an objective perspective outside of your friends and family. Life is really hard. Stress is real. Stress can kill us. So I would just encourage anyone, if you feel stressed, or you just need someone to talk to, you just want to talk through some things, give us a call at Hand in Hand Counseling. The phone number that we can be reached at 412-414-7782. And you can either ask for myself, Sharise Hemby, or Tess Kenny, and we'll be happy to talk to you and see how we can help you. And I also encourage you to just check the book out, Vitamin C, Healing for the Mind, Body, and Soul. It can be ordered online at ex3ent.com. And I think that would also be a good tool to help you start thinking about if counseling is for you, or, there's also some tools in there to just get through the day.
Thank you, Sharise.
Thank you.